Welcome to another yoga asana session, guys. And hello from India. You get to sort of travel the world with me in a way. And who knows where I'll be next. But today, I designed a class mostly focused on freeing up the muscles and any tension you're feeling in the chest and especially the thoracic region of the spine. And hopefully, that will help us free up our breath to breathe more easily and also deeper and with better quality of inhaling and exhaling. And also, I feel like the more mental concept of the class will be patience. Uh, going to focus on moving slowly through the asana and maybe holding a few poses longer than normal to work on patience in the body and the mind. Trying not to rush through your exercises and carrying that into your day to try to not rush through any tasks or any of your daily activities, taking one thing at a time and putting all of your focus and effort on the moment and the task at hand. So when you're ready, we'll actually begin in tabletop or Vajrasana, and we'll be warming up the wrists. You can sit in Vajrasana or tabletop or wherever you're comfortable. And first, flip the palms so the fingers are facing towards you, knees, or if that's a little too intense, they could be out slightly at an angle. And stay here or slowly release your hips back towards your heels to feel a deeper opening in the wrists, but just warming up, so take it easy at first. And then if that's comfortable, you can start to sway back and forth a little bit. Again, starting with a small range of motion and maybe increasing that range as it starts to loosen up a bit. Then maybe make little circles in one direction, the other direction. And then slowly release palms and fingers off the ground. Shake out your wrists for a second. And then briefly put the palms the opposite way so the top of the hand is on the ground now, fingers facing back. And again, stay here, or especially with this counter pose, gently release your hips backward. Usually more intense on this side of the palm. And release. Take out your wrists. And we'll give each little finger a tug backward to stretch out, starting with the thumb and go down each of your fingers. Just gently pulling back for a moment of your hand. Sort of slides off the finger. And come into the other hand. And now come into tabletop. Knees under the hips, wrists under your shoulders, and lengthen out through your right leg and rock back and forth, reaching with the toes and then flexing back into the heel. So you start to warm up still the wrists as well as back of the right calf. Maintaining good breath and a good line between your torso, hips, and legs. Place the right knee back down and come to the other side. Straighten the left leg and flex and extend on the back heel. Your left knee back down and we'll come into a variation on cat and cow where we'll be following the breath like we do in cat and cow, but we'll be making a side to side barrel motion with the chest this time. So again, inhale when you're coming down here and start to exhale when you come to the side and up, and just really explore that range of motion with the thoracic spine as well as the floating ribs. Really trying to exhale, fully activating your abdominal muscles on the way up, and you can go deeper into the spinal flexion. And remembering to stay wide and active in all of your fingers to support your wrists, as well as to apply a little gentle pressure so you can help support the spinal flexion. And next time you reach the center, come into the other direction of circles. Again, making sure to follow your breath. Exhaling when you flex. Inhaling when you round the spine downward. And slowly come back to neutral. Bring your left hand a little bit closer to the midline of the mat. Bring your balance onto the left palm and wrist. And on an inhale, bring your right arm up to the side. Gaze up towards the hand. Exhale back down. Place the right hand down now and inhale. Press into the hand. Gaze up at a straightened left arm. And we'll come into both sides again and remember to put a little pressure into be strong in the down arm so you can tug yourself open a little bit more. Place the left hand down and inhale up to the right. Exhale down. And one more time over to the left. And now this time I do the same thing, but we'll come in to thread the needle. Place your left hand down. Inhale to the right. Big inhale. And exhale. Thread your right arm down to the ground. Might have to readjust your left hand for comfort. And try to drop your arm, shoulder, and the side of the head and cheek to the ground. And readjust your hips back to neutral if they've popped over to the left for alignment, and it also might increase the stretch in your arm and shoulder blade area. And breathe here. And bring your left hand back in a bit on the mat if it was outward. Press in to the left hand to raise up with the right arm again. And exhale down to neutral tabletop. And we'll come into the other side. Inhale, press actively into the palm and fingers and gaze up at the left hand. And exhale, thread the needle over to the right. And again, remember to readjust your hips if they've fallen back, forward, or to one side or the other. Into your right hand to lift up again, straightening through the left arm, and back down to neutral. And now walk your knees back a bit so we have more room on the top of the mat. And then keeping your hips roughly over your knees, start to walk forward, keeping that position of the hips until your arms roughly straighten. And then drop the chin and chest towards the ground for puppy pose. And if that's too intense for your arms, you can drop the elbows here. And in fact, with the elbows dropped, you get more of a different type of shoulder opening rather than a chest opening. So they're both fruitful. Big inhales here into the chest area while releasing the thoracic spine. Gently taking care of your arms. Raise the hips, torso up, and walk your hands back in. And walk your knees a little back forward. Swivel your feet out to one side. Set up for a half wild thing pose. So bend your right leg in front of you about perpendicular with the mat. Place the left foot roughly in front of the right ankle. Right hand behind you for support. And just watch me once first. Or actually, I'll do the other side first so you get a better angle of what I'm doing with the legs and hips. So we'll start on the left side. Have your left leg bent so it's perpendicular with the mat. Right foot just in front of the left ankle. And on each inhale, we'll be doing a half circle with the right arm while pressing into the left hand and raising the hips and opening through the chest and reaching back with the right arm as much as you can. And on an exhale, reversing that circle while dropping the hips. So when you're ready, we'll do about 3 breaths on each side. So inhale, start to swing back with the right hand, press into the left, the balance, and raise through the hips. Activate your glutes. Reach back with the right arm and open through the chest. And exhale, reverse the motion. Inhale, press the hips up, activate the glutes, and reach back. Exhale down. Inhale up. And exhale down. And we'll set up for the other side. Shake out your left wrist if there's a little strong of a pose for it. So, right leg bent this time. Left foot in front of the right ankle. Right arm, right hand behind you for support. And on an inhale, press the hips up, activate the glutes, and swing the left arm back overhead and reaching backward. Exhale, swing back down. Inhale up. And exhale down. Remember to press actively through your fingers. Support the wrist. Inhale one more time up. And exhale down. Nice hip activation and chest opener. And swing your feet back again. Coming into tabletop. For a moment, tucking the toes so they're facing forward. And releasing your hips back towards the heels as much as you can. Finding that point of comfort and sweet pain to open up the arches. Sitting back if you can, but it's fine if you have to find a little point in between. And then walk your hands back forward. Straighten through both legs into plank with your feet about hips width. And then press away into the hands and fingers to raise the hips for downward dog. And hold for about 5 breaths. You can be a little fluid here if you want, or hold statically. Active through all corners of the hands. So you can press away into the mat to open the chest further towards the ground and pressing more of your weight into the lower half of the body. So you can release the heels and the calves closer to the ground. And gaze forward, tiptoe the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, pressing your hands gently into the shins and extending through the spine. Exhale, forward fold again, heavy with the arms. And then step to the lengthwise side of your mat. Point your toes out at a roughly 45-degree angle. And on an inhale, we'll sink down into goddess pose. Activate your glutes so you can press the knees backward as much as you can so they're not caving in. Working towards being over the heels, but it takes quite a bit of time to get there to have the opening in your hips. And bring the arms up in a cactus shape. And on an exhale, reach into star. Inhale back into cactus. Hug your shoulder blades towards each other to open the chest. And exhale into star. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, exhale your hands to heart center and straighten the legs. Face the top of the mat and step into Tadasana and rest for a moment before the main sequence. And scan your body for any differences you already feel, maybe some opening or areas of tightness you want to focus on. And find your balance and your breath in Tadasana. I think I forgot to mention at the beginning of class, is if possible, have some straps available for the main sequence of this class. We'll be using those to aid in shoulder opening for some poses that might not be quite possible if you can't make the bind with the fingers behind the back. So take a moment to grab a strap or an old belt or some sort of fabric you can twist together to use as a strap. Just pause the video if you need to get those. But first we'll begin with a couple rhymes, some salutations. From Tadasana, bend slightly into the knees and inhale the hands overhead, coming into a slight back bend. Exhale, fold forward, staying long in your spine, using the hips as a hinge. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your right foot back and drop the knee into a lunge. And have your toes tucked or back, depending on whether you want to sink deeper into the hips or the arches of the feet. Feeling the arms up next to the ears. And it's comfortable for your back. Come into a back bend here from the thoracic region. Exhale, fold forward with the hands. Straighten your back leg. Step back into plank. And lower your chaturanga, or knees, chest, chin to the ground. Rolling straight up into cobra. First activating your back muscles to lift and then gently pressing into the hands while simultaneously pulling back on the mat to pull the chest forward, hugging your elbows in and shoulder blades towards each other. Exhale down. Press up into plank or tabletop and up and away into downward dog with the feet together. Parvatasana. Look forward and work your right foot between the hands. Drop the left knee and inhale the arms up next to the ear. Again, coming into a slight back bend if your lower lumbar spine is comfortable with it. Tail roll forward. Straighten the back leg. And then pulse back and forth until we'll work towards hopping our left foot to meet the right. Testing our balance, trying to make one fluid step into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale, bend into the knees. And inhale the arms up overhead. Slight back bend. Exhale to the heart center. And hands down to the side into Tadasana. Second round. Inhale, bend the knees, bring the hands overhead. Slight back bend with the in-breath. Exhale, forward fold, staying extended in your spine. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, this time start with the left foot back. Drop the knee. And maybe this time do the opposite with your back foot of whatever you were doing before. Inhaling the arms up next to the ears. And then maybe sinking gently a little further into the front knee to open up the hips. And then coming into slight back bend from your thoracic region. Exhale, roll the torso forward and frame the front foot. Straighten the back leg. Step back into plank. And lower through chaturanga, our knees, chest, chin. And this time coming up into cobra straight away on the inhale, or upward facing dog with the arms straightened, hips floating just above the ground. But here still being active in your hands and pulling the mat towards you to not only lift the chest, but also move it forward in space. Exhale back down to the ground, pressing up into plank and away into Asana, downward dog with the feet together. Look forward, work your left foot towards the top of the mat, back knee down, and inhale the arms up next to the ears. Exhale, frame your front foot, straighten the back leg, and then we'll pulse back and forward until you want to hop forward with the back foot to meet the front and forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And inhale all the way up. Hands at the heart on the exhale and down to the side. Now we'll do in Tadasana, Gomukhasana arms, the cow face pose. To open up the chest and shoulders and grab a strap if you need it here, because we'll be trying to make that bind with the hands behind the back. So if you know you can't do that, grab a strap. First, you're using the strap, have it dangling behind your back, and then bend your left arm behind your back so the palm is facing backward, and then grab the strap, and then walk your right hand down closer to your, as close as you can to your left, and use the strap to aid you. Otherwise, you do that same thing, but without the strap, and bend the left arm, reach up with the right, and then bend the right down the back, reaching towards your fingers, and holding here for several breaths. Gently release your clasp. so you don't do any jarring motions on the shoulders. And come into the other side. Using your inhale to accentuate the stretch on each cycle of breath, you should be able to feel deepening of the stretch on each inhale and then a slight release on the exhale. Using the breath to help your stretches, you can really start to get a feel of the interconnectedness of all the muscles in the body systems. You release your clasp again. And now everybody will need a strap for this one. You'll have to do a couple trials first to get the right length in your arms because we'll be doing an overhead and down the back stretch to open up the chest and shoulders. So first go a little wider than you think you might need. So the first one coming up and over is really easy. And then after you're at a length where you know you can do it, you can walk your hands in along the strap a bit to get a deeper stretch. You want a little bit of a challenge. But take it slow. Just slowly walk in. Don't want to overdo it. And we'll do a few rounds here. And if you have little areas of tightness, you can even play around here a bit with different things you feel in your body. You don't have to stay with the straight overhead and down the back motion. If there's anything you're sensing you want to work on in your shoulders or back or chest, and just one more. Inhaling overhead, exhaling down the back. And then one more. And I think that's the last time we'll need the strap, so you can set that to the side. Step back into Tadasana at the top of your mat. Inhale the hands overhead. Exhale, forward fold. And on an inhale, step your left foot back, like we do in Warrior One, with the back foot facing out at roughly 45-degree angle. Bend into the front knee, and then interlace your fingers behind the back, and then hug the palms, bottom of the palms towards each other, and straighten through the arms. And if that's not accessible, you can also just have your hands on the top of your hips, hugging the elbows towards each other and the shoulder blades towards each other along the back. But here, inhale, draw the arms, hands down, open up the chest, and exhale, forward fold to the inside of the left knee and thigh. Inhale, keep alignment in your front knee and ankle. Open through the chest. Exhale, fold. Inhale. Exhale. And now release your clasp, whichever method you had. And we'll just play around with half moon here. Ardha Chandrasana. So step your back foot in a little bit for more balance. Bring your weight forward to balance on your left foot. Left hand just to the front and side of the left foot. And then play around with half moon here. So even if all you can do is hover your back foot a little bit and work on this balance here, that's totally fine. But ideally, you want to start to work towards lifting your back leg in line with your hip and pointing the toes outward to the right, and then lifting your right arm in line with the left and opening up the hips towards the right. But wherever you're at, you're still getting work on your balance, your ankle, and all the muscles go along the calf and thigh. And I'll just hold here for a while so you can spend some time playing around with it. You can even move a little chair or move towards a wall to have that handy to have a little support. And then slowly we'll place the right foot back down, place the center of the mat, and then swivel. Place the back of the mat so we can do that flow on the opposite side. First setting up in a warrior one-like position. And then making the same clasp of the hips or the hands along the back, interlaced fingers. Hug the palms towards each other. And then on an inhale, straighten the hands down along the back leg and open up the chest in a slight back bend before exhaling and folding to the inside of the right leg. Inhale up, keeping alignment in your knees. Exhale, forward fold. Stay active through your back foot, the outer line of your back foot and your heel. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. And then slowly release whatever bind you have with the hands. And step the left foot in a little bit to help balance before we play around with half moon on this side. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Slowly raise your left foot back down. Raise up. Face the center of the mat. Swivel your feet so you can step back to the top of the mat. And now inhale the arms up one more time overhead. Extending, reaching through the spine. And exhale, forward fold. And bend in the knees, place your hands down. And come to sit in any way that's good for you. We'll come into fish pose, which we've done before, so you can take the option of doing regular fish or grabbing a block a block and a pillow so you can do supported fish. So with supported fish, you want to take the block and place it long ways along the mid spine. So it's helping raise your chest up, and then using either a block or a pillow or a combination of both behind your head so you can have something to rest your head on so it's not overextending your neck and upper spine. But for regular fish, lay down on your back, have the hands next to your side, palms facing downward so you can apply pressure into the palms and the elbows. And now press into your elbows so you can press the chest off the ground. Continuing to press lots of strength into the elbows so you can readjust the head so you're looking backward and gently balancing on the very back portion of your head. But most of the pressure is in your elbows, so you're just resting on that head, on your head, and breathe into the chest. And I'll hold here a little longer than you might be holding, just so you had time to set up with the block if you're doing supported fish. Definitely coming out if you ever start to feel any compression or pain in your upper spine or neck, or readjusting so you're not gazing back as much, so you're not having as much arch in your upper spine. And slowly, with the support of your elbows, release your back up down to the ground. Press your torso up for a counter stretch in Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. Legs together, feet together. Raise the arms up. And on an exhale, exhale fully from your abdomen to help release space to reach forward into a forward fold. First, extending through the spine till you can reach no longer. And then grabbing the shins, ankles, or toes, wherever your hands land. Focus on staying a little longer in the spine rather than just punching first. And breathe here. The thoracic spine and upper back area. And maybe with each exhale, feeling yourself release a little lower. Further forward and towards the legs. With your next exhale or inhale, slowly slide your hands up the legs, maybe even giving yourself a little massage as you come up. Back to a neutral seat. Roll back down onto your ground, knees up, bottom of the feet facing the sky, and then reach through the inside of your legs to the outside of your feet, coming into happy baby Asana. And then gently tug down on your feet to open up through the groin more. And stay here and make any little motions along the ground to massage your spine and back muscles if you want. You can make any motions here really that you want before we come into the final resting pose. Always feels amazing here to find a little knot and roll it out. Even a few months later, I'm still working out some of the brown back, as we call it, from picking apples and other fruit. There's some disease we get sometimes called brown rot in the fruit, but a friend of ours said the disease of the workers is brown back. The joys of being a farm boy. Now release your feet, hug your knees in, chin towards the knees. Give yourself a nice hug. Inhale and hold for a moment. And exhale, release, coming into Shavasana for several minutes of deep relaxation. Scanning your body first to release any tension where you might be holding it unnecessarily. There's a lot of people that's around the hips or glutes. Make sure you're not flexing any muscles down there for no reason, or along the jaw. Make sure you're not clenching your teeth, or sometimes around your eyes. Make sure you're not squinting or feeling any compression there. Just let your eyes and forehead muscles drop. Drop your tongue and relax. 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 Start to bring your attention back to your surroundings. Start to wake up your fingers and toes. Maybe reach overhead and stretch long through the legs and arms for a full body stretch if you want. Before, in your own time, rolling to one side and making your way to a seat with the eyes closed in a comfortable seated position of your choice. With your hands at the heart center, bow for a moment towards your hands and heart, giving thanks to the healing practice of yoga, as well as to yourself for giving yourself the time to practice today. And I hope the practice felt as good for you as it did for me. And I hope it freed up some of your breath and the back and the chest so you can carry on through your day and week with better quality of breath and a more relaxed demeanor. Namaste. I'm sorry for all the yelling over the speaker halfway through practice. There's 5 times a day a call to prayer, which I find almost a little rude, but also funny. Wakes me up at 5, but sort of turned it into a gift. Wakes me up 2 hours earlier than normal, so I think, oh, I have 2 extra hours to do things in a day. But it's a little funny. No one else is yelling in their window about their religion. But what can you do? Turn it into a gift. Thanks for practicing.